Hey everybody, looks like we are live on Facebook, and that's always a good thing. We made it to another Wednesday, so that makes me very happy. Hey Willie, how's it going? Happy Wednesday. Todd, how are you? Good to see you. So glad you guys could make it. That always makes me very happy. And so right now it looks like everything is good. I think we have good visual. How's the picture quality? Okay, my friends? Yes, everything looks pretty good. So here we are, part 2 of Evanescence. And you know, when I'm working during the week, I always look to make sure that everything is working correct. What's up there, Tone? Good to see you. Looking at the drawing, all those different things, making sure I don't go too dark too early, but still trying to get the large shapes. So as always, I'm going to go in with the light mixture first, and we're just going to try and find some shapes, refine some shapes, that sort of thing. Not worrying too much about edges, that comes later. So remember, we do the contours first. And then after the contours, we come back with the values, the shapes, then the values, then the edges, then after the edges, then the lights and darks within the shapes. Hey Steve, good to see you. How are you, my friend? So cool you can make it. So you see here, it's a little bit light, so I'm actually going to slowly darken that up. I don't want to oversaturate the surface. So you really have to make sure that you don't oversaturate the surface. It's very, very important. So I'm just going to be moving around and trying to just reacclimate myself with the portrait, with Amy Lee's face, and trying to get the overall structure of her. You know, hey Wendy, how's it going? Good to see you. You're perfectly on time. Great job. Always good to see you, Wendy. Wendy's birthday's coming up next week, I believe. Let me see. So it's going to be next Monday. So that's cool. So everyone, happy birthday to Wendy. A preemptive birthday, that's what it is. Wendy needs to have cake. No, not aging at all. Hey Keith, good to see you. How are you, my friend? So glad to see you, Keith. Keith and I have been Facebook friends for a very long time, so it's always good to see you, Keith. I'm so glad you can make it tonight. Oh, August 2nd. For some reason I thought August 3rd. My bad. So what I'm doing is just reacclimating myself to this portrait. Getting rid of any areas for some reason, I put them in. Oh, that's right. Yes, Steve's doing great things with that ink. So definitely Keith. Remember I said I was going to come back in here, and I am I have the 2 airbrush method going on right now. I have this one right here with the light mixture, this one medium mixture. So we're just going to even this out very slowly. Not oversaturating. Remember, we have plenty of time to go dark and even this out. So there's no rush. And the same thing here. This is a really stark edge, but we got to make that edge sort of go away. And that's sort of the mystery in the pose. We want to make sure we don't only get everything correct, but also, oh yes, the lips, definitely. I did the lips off camera, and that was a lot of fun. And that was with the P.H. Martin's India ink. Hey Mike, how's it going? Good to see you, sir. She does almost look like that right now, but you know, it's still early. But yeah, in the early stages, remember, we don't worry about likeness at this point. Even though, you know, everything is telling us it's not looking like her yet or whatever, we have to really suppress that. And so I'm trying to get more of that look in her eye. Green eyes are coming, definitely. I'm setting up for that. Definitely, Wendy. There we go. So you see, I could lower her eyelid a little bit. I'm trying not to get too dark or too wet. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. You know, we'll see how it goes. I would love to do that if at all possible, Wendy. Always good to get feedback from you guys. As long as it's constructive. If it's not constructive, we all know how that goes. But you guys have always been constructive. There have been some trolls, but notice they're not here anymore. Wow, thank you. I appreciate that so much. And so it's going to be, you know, it's not going to be the easiest thing to get this right, but we're going to stick with it. Just like working in hair and everything else, that we have to stick with it. And we have to, don't get emotional about it, right? We have to really just continue and be tenacious. Tenacity is one of the most important things in life, I feel. For me, I mean, and in learning, in art, in love, tenacity is the one thing that separates. At times, not always. Some things are just not going to be successful no matter what you do, but it really puts the odds in your favor. She's already amazing. Aw, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Wendy. And let me zoom out a little bit so we can see more of her. And so once we darken this part of her hair, things will start to come together. Now I'm not going to use any kind of frisket because this side is very soft edge, so that would just defeat the purpose. The really dark lines where, Wendy? What do you mean? No, that's just, you know, going over with the, you know, with the pencil very dark. They're just guidelines that are going to disappear. So right now I'm in the medium mixture. And I'm just basically getting the overall structure. And I want to save my table for as much as possible, right? You know, if it comes between a good painting and my table, I'm going to pick a good painting. But if we can save our table, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm a good distance away, probably about 3 inches from the surface with the airbrush. Remember, further away you're going to get a lot more of a gradation, smoother. You know, you want smoother area of color. You're going to increase your distance. And of course with the medium mixture, you get a lot. If I wouldn't do this with the light mixture, it would just take forever. And then when I come in with the dark mixture, it's going to be even more powerful. Now, this all is going to look very dark, but this is pretty much the tone that's there. Is going to be the light of the hair. The light of her hair is very dark. Just doing dagger strokes back and forth. And just watch out you don't go too dark. Or should I say too wet. So you can always darken, but you don't want to oversaturate the surface. It's not going to help you, so just don't do it. Okay, so I'm already at a medium mixture, so let's make this happen. There we go. So you see right here, and that's how fast you can reload very quickly. Don't got to worry about mediums, don't have to worry about any of that, and bada bing bada boom, you're ready. So that's cool. And then here we can see that I need to even this out. And we'll even this out, this edge, slowly, right? We're not going to do it right away. We take our time. And I was talking to Todd, and you know, we were talking earlier about his drawing, and he was using the 2B pencil, and he was doing great, but I told him to just use the 2H pencil and see how that goes by just using the 2H pencil in the early going, and it really gave him more control. And I liken that to the early going of the painting, you know, following the ink mixtures. When you stay to the light side using the ink mixtures in the like the first 2 hours, 3 hours, it really pays off because you're not going too dark too fast. And slowly I'm just easing that together. There's really no edge here. There's just an indication of an eyelid there. So when you're sketching, you're really not going to look and say, oh wow, it doesn't look good in the early going. Never. That's, in the early going, it's going to have its period. You're going to want to, now don't get me wrong, you want it to look as beautiful as possible at all stages, right? There's no reason to, you know, have an ugly stage on purpose. But when you're going early and you're just putting down tone, yes, you're going to have some very interesting times where it's not looking as crisp as you want it. But like I said, you're not worried so much about edges right now as you're worried about value. Edges come later. And the 1 second rule is going to keep you from going south. And we're going to go back in with the red in her lips. That's something we'll also readdress but that's something I just went ahead and put it in real fast. Hey, what's up? Bill, good to see you. John, nice to see you guys. So glad you guys can make it. Thank you. Thank you for spending your Wednesday with me. And since we have the medium mixture, let's go ahead and darken that pupil. 1 second rule, even for something that you put in the drawing and you already went in with the light mixture, always look again. Always double check yourself, you know, at a certain stage, you know. There comes a point where you got to cut your losses and pretty much go down the road you chose, but at this stage you definitely can make some adjustments. Same thing here. We still have a little bit of an edge. Now, right now it's dry, so I'm going to do something interesting. I'm going to take my mono eraser and I'm going to break up this edge a little bit. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes we just have to take matters in your own hands and break things up, you know? Hey, that's so great, Bill. I'm so glad they arrived. It seems like the USPS is taking a little bit longer to get things. You should have received them on Monday, but I was watching the tracking, and it takes a little bit longer. So that was a bit of a bummer. Sorry about that. I did get them in the mail on Saturday, and Bill lives in Jersey with me, Jersey as well as I do, I should say, and so he should have gotten that next business day. Oh, well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Oh, so so I was able to purchase a print of one of Stephen Leahy's paintings. He did this print of the cityscape, and I believe it's the Millennium Building that is pretty much the main subject. And it was only $20, and that was like really great, you know. $20, that's fantastic. Okay, not bad. So I can deal with Tuesday. Tuesday's better than if it got today, Bill. And would that hold you over for a while, sir? I'm going to go back with the light mixture. I'm going to do some little areas. Oh no, your computer's dying. That's not good. It's not plugged in. Now the light mixture is when we do subtle areas. We don't want to use the medium mixture for something that is perfect for the light mixture. So new things around the pipe, guys. I am going to start, I'm working on doing a set of opaque India inks. Doesn't that sound interesting? What do you guys think of opaque India inks? Oh, you need more dark mixture? Okay, I'm going to make that happen. So I'm gonna send you out some dark mixture. Well, no, they don't exist yet, Wendy. That's something that I'm working on. I'm inventing them. A set of opaque India inks. Gloria, how's it going? Good to see ya. So cool, Raul. How are you? Okay, great. We have a great group today. This is fantastic. So I'm gonna continue mentioning that. So I'm coming out So what I have now are transparent ink mixtures, and I'm coming out with, hey, what's up, Christian? Good to see ya. Yes, I colored her lips, just doing something a little different, and just adding. Now the thing is, well, no, it's not that easy just adding white, because just like my ink mixtures, I'm going to have the perfect method for making a painting from start to finish using opaques. Now I have a method from start to finish using transparents. Both have a totally different look. So it's not that easy. And then what are you going to mix? What are you going to mix those inks with to make them opaque? Right? You can't just pick anything. You have to pick the one thing that's going to actually work best, you know? So I made that color. Oh, great question. I made that color with P.H. Martin's India inks, colored India inks. So, and I just put that over there, mixed it with some white. And so basically, Bill, working with the opaque, you'll be able to get more of that sheen look. Now, the great thing is that, oh, Wendy kissed the picture. So the great way is that I think the transparent look is beautiful, and I love the transparent look, but I also like the opaque look as well. So, and then you can combine the two, but I think they need to be used pretty much exclusive, except for the light mixture in the beginning of the opaque method. It hasn't been done before, and this is what I want to bring to the table. And I'm not doing it just to be different. I'm doing it because I feel there's a need for it. And not only that, they'll make airbrushing more fun for people starting out. And what's more scary in the beginning of it, or you know, someone who's working in airbrush, than the process of working in opaques, the process of how to work in opaques. I can break that down, which I already have, break it down into its simplest form, you know. And yeah, you would really love it, Bill. You would take to it immediately. I know that because you're an amazing artist. Dennis the Menace is coming out amazing, by the way. Bill's doing a portrait of Dennis the Menace, which is fantastic. And also Steve Leahy is doing a Ducati, a motorcycle using the India inks. How's that coming, Steve? It's looking really fantastic. And then you're using the, both of you guys are using the light mixture just perfectly in the early going, not going too fast into the medium mixture, which I really love. So you see, oh, you're welcome, Bill, definitely. There are so many advantages to working in the, now I love working in acrylic, but there are advantages working in the India inks. Number one, you get this sort of greenish sort of sheen, sort of more of a fine art look to it. It more, you know, and not that the other way doesn't look good and great, but it's just a different way. It gives us options, right? And options are always important in art and always help us. Now I can see I'm not giving enough of her chin, so I'm going to make sure that we show more of her chin. We don't want to shorten her up, you know, or squish her in, you know. Yeah, well, definitely, I can understand that, Wendy. That is definitely a concern, you know, with the. But the great thing about it is that, you know, these are going to be pretty good as far as toxicity, which is really great, because India ink basically, if you look at the product, is soot and water with maybe the tiniest little bit of lacquer. That's it. That's why India ink is probably one of the healthiest of all the airbrush paints. Now, what's that other one that is really scary? The enamels, right? Those are really bad. Urethanes. I used urethanes when I took a class, a workshop with Jonathan Pantaleone back in 2012. And we were using urethanes and they were great. But I got the worst headache that lasted for days. It was really bad. Oh, great! So definitely, that's fantastic, Bill. That's great, and I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you guys, sharing the India inks. No, there's no smell with India inks. It's just soot, right? That's all it is. It's soot and water with the tiniest bit of lacquer, which is so small. Uh, Now that's why they're erasable, because they don't have those binders in them, right? Which is really, really great. I'm back to the medium mixture. And let's pull out a little bit. And let's look at her here. And pretty soon we're going to come in with the dark mixture. Now, with the 2 airbrush method, I'm able to go really fast from one to another, but not too fast. Okay, so now let's see if we could get the right size of her eyelashes here. And you can see that she comes together when she's ready to come together, And I think the India inks definitely have a place in the market, in the airbrush market, and that's what makes me excited about them, because I think if we continue with them and more people try them, and I think when people are starting out, it really is going to give them confidence and not make them feel so bad, when they're getting all this tip dry and everything like that, which really I can see just, takes the wind out of their sails. And that's one of the things that a lot of people who have tried my inks, they always say, wow, Tim, I don't have tip dry as much, I don't have this as much. And that makes me feel good, because then they're just worrying about creating work. They're worrying about light and dark in the 1 second rule, hopefully, right? And just as we go, we want to make sure that we're sort of carving out the 3-dimensional forms. And don't be in a hurry. Never be in a hurry. And don't care how it looks. It doesn't matter. It only cares how you finish. Only care about how it finishes. But during the process, it's all about the method. It's all about looking. Oh, so Bill says that his wife has asthma and the inks don't bother her at all. God bless. That's wonderful. Yes, and I find that. And now I went on, the website for Speedball, and it's virtually non-toxic. And that's amazing for an airbrush paint, right? To have something that is actually non-toxic. That's amazing. And I think, and I paint so many hours a day, and I don't wear a mask. When I'm painting, when I'm outside, it's different. But I don't wear a mask. And it actually, I haven't had any effects, adverse effects. Thank God. Now when I work in acrylic, when I blow my nose, I actually see the paint. So acrylic is rough. Amy Lee she's just amazing. Oh, just amazing to paint. And then we just want to make sure we get that look. So you see how I did that indentation? with the medium mixture, then boom, go with the light mixture. And then I can get that real, that's the beauty of airbrush. I don't care, I've worked in every medium imaginable, and nothing can do what the airbrush can do when it comes to those subtle things like that. Oh, your son loves her. He has good taste. That's for sure. And I'm with the light mixture now, so I'm just going to continue getting the values correct. But there's time, right, Bill and Steve and everyone? There's just time, so you're going to take your time. 1 second rule keeps me from thinking about making green tea and you know, thinking about other things. So with the 1 second rule keeps my head in the game. So with the light mixture, I'm just trying to get the major shapes here. And with the light mixture, it keeps me from overcompensating. And I may need to lighten things up a little bit. So it gets dark here and then it lightens up. So watch as I just increase my distance as I go. And I can get that beautiful gradation. So remember here, we just continue to just get rid of anything that doesn't belong. I'm going to go back to the medium mixture. Look how fluid you are going back from the medium. So that's one of my big rules, along with the 1 second rule. Is so Bill says he even uses the 1 second rule when I'm erasing highlights. Perfect. Yes, that's really going to help us. It helps me so much, Bill. And I really like the 2 airbrush method because I can be very fluid going from one to another. You know, because when you're, you know, in like hour number 3 or 4, you definitely need that ability to move around from one mixture to another. Now, I know 3 airbrush mixture is a lot because not many people have a, you know, a 3 connection or 3 airbrushes, but stick with the, I'm going to stick with, as far as the teaching, the 2 airbrush method. That really helps. And so, okay, so when I did the, I went ahead and mixed white with scarlet red and a little bit of orange, and I went over that, and I know I'm going to go over it again. That's just establishing it. And so then we're going to come in with the you know, different things such as the highlights and the little bit of dark areas. But that's something I wouldn't want to just because I'm putting in color doesn't mean I'm going to finish it all together, because that goes against the whole philosophy of working everything together. We're not somebody who is going to finish the eye and then go to the nose and then finish the mouth. No, because they relate to each other, and you can't see relationships until you bring them up together. So once again, I'm back to the light mixture, and I'm just working on subtleties here. Do what only the light mixture can do. Do what only the medium mixture can do. Do what only the dark mixture can do. You know, really use your tools and specialize them and have them do what they're best at. You know, a good leader is somebody who could take all the strengths of their team and use them as their strengths. Don't use them at their weaknesses, or try and mold them to do something that they're not meant to do. And whenever I had a good manager and I had a regular job, those are the ones who, you know, you really felt like you wanted to do everything for. because they valued you and you were able to be who you are. And I think that's the way it is with the media mixtures in a weird way, that you don't want to use the media mixture when the light mixture is so much better at it. So you see now we're getting that square in her chin that we didn't have. And you know, you're going to make mistakes whether you project or not or draw it out. You're going to make mistakes. We're human, but and I think Bill mentioned in one of his live streams, is to recognize those mistakes and to be critical enough of ourselves to, you know, make those changes when we see those mistakes, because we are going to see them. Rembrandt made mistakes, Titian made mistakes, Norman Rockwell made mistakes. Why wouldn't we? Okay, medium mixture. So I'm neglecting to actually make that, lighten that up yet, because I haven't put in the darkest darks yet. So I'm going to neglect to go ahead and erase until I see everything and, you know, and the relationships first. That's important. Like I said, I would normally put Frisket here, but if you look at the reference photo, that's very soft edge on that right side of her hair. So putting Frisket there would definitely be counterproductive. We have a beautiful soft edge. And yeah, we have a line there, but no worries, because we can go ahead and work just as we got rid of the line there. You know, you don't have to erase all the time. Remember that, guys, is that when you have pencil lines, erasing is not always the answer. Think of pencil lines or whatever lines you have, and think of them as training wheels, right? You're teaching your kid how to ride a bike. You're not going to take them off too soon. You're going to keep them on as long as possible, maybe even longer than you need to. So that's this way when you go ahead and take them off, it's perfect. You did everything you needed to do. Same thing with, hey Bill, how's it going? Good to see you, my friend. And so Andrew, how you doing? Good to see you, Andrew. How's everything? So Andrew's all the way from Scotland, and Bill's from Nashville, Tennessee area. Great to see you guys. And so very good. So Bill asks, when do you know it's time to move on to the medium mixture? I think how I do it is that I get to the point where only, like when you sketch, right? You know when you're sketching, Bill, and you get to the point where you just got to bring out that, you know, 4B or the 2B pencil, you're working with the 2H, and now you just have to start molding the forms a little more. So my feeling is this, and this is actually a funny thing, I stay a little bit longer in the light mixture than I think I have to. So when I want to go ahead and move into the medium mixture, that's when I stay a little bit longer in the light mixture. It keeps myself honest. Because staying in the light mixture a little bit longer is not going to hurt you. But leaving the light mixture before you're ready is going to hurt you. So it's the same thing, you know, like we talked with training wheels. And the light mixture is kind of like that, you know. It's like doing warm-up pitches, you know. How do you know how many warm-up pitches are enough? Can you do too many? Probably not. But you can do too few and face a batter, and you can hit it to Pluto. So, yeah, I really feel that, you know, stay in the medium mixture a little longer than you think you have to. I look at it like this. So let's say, thanks Bill. So I look at it like this. So let's say you're working and you get to the point, and we all have gotten there, you know, we're doing a painting that's just coming out amazing. Like, oh my God, this painting is really, I'm knocking it out of the park. This is great. And you want to finish it, and you have that gut feeling that you just want to rush it and finish it, right? And you just want to, just sign it, and you just feel so excited, and that's when you have to step back. And that's when you have to say, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not going to run out of gas, you know? And I think that's the same thing with the light mixture with me is, you know, I'm not going to run out of gas with this. I'm going to stay with this. You know, I'm going to stay with the program. And it always is a better decision. But I know if I leave that light mixture and go too dark too soon, it just makes my life a little bit harder. I mean, you can recover, of course, but it does make your life a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. So we're back with the light mixture. And so you never really leave the light mixture or leave the medium mixture. You're always going to be using them. You're going to be coming back to them to the end of the painting. I come back to the light mixture all the way to like the last hour. Hola, Sorsid, how you doing, my friend? All the way from Scotland. So we have two Scots here today. That's fantastic. I love my UK connection, guys. I really do. You guys are the best. Really enjoy this. There are a lot of Bills, yes. Bill W. Leon Artistry is here. Good to see you. And I did say hello, Bill, from Nashville. And so that's cool. So how you been, Bill, from Nashville? Bill Kennedy? Remember, things are going to look really dark in like hour number 4. But in reality, everything's pretty light. So it's very, very important to, so, you know, stopping by. I know it's late, Sora said. Thank you so much for coming by, you know. Always great to see you. Andrew, it's really late over there for you guys. So it's an honor that you guys, you know, stop by this late. And I'm going to go back to my medium mixture. Now a lot of this area looks broken up, but that's okay because we're going to darken things up. Three in the morning, man, that is late. That is late. Bill says he's tired. He cooked clean, took the dogs out, painted a quick tutorial. Oh man, so yeah, so that's a long day. I had to clean out my cat's kitty litter box today, did the dishes, cleaned the kitchen, went for a walk. So yeah, you know, the other stuff, that's the stuff that gets you tired. So we're going to work on the hair a little bit. Why not, right? And sort of get that going. Get the large shapes. And since we're in the medium mixture, why not? And the dark mixture is going to come, you know. We're going to take our time with that. I'm not going to get involved in anything that's too light or too dark because everything's going to darken up over here. Because, you know, if I went ahead and started erasing and everything like that, when everything else is going to darken up, there's no reason to erase. Same thing over here. Oh, you made shepherd's pie. How cool is that? I used to go there. There used to be an English pub I used to go to all the time when I lived in Orlando. And the waitress took a liking to me. God knows why. But I used to always get free shepherd's pie and all kinds of really cool English food, and that was fun. She'd always fed me. I was in my 20s. Oh wow, that sounds good there, Bill. So you see, I'm not just darkening. So with hair, you don't just want to paint it. You basically, with hair, what we want to do is we want to stick with it. Work from your large shapes and then go from the large shapes to the small. Squint your eyes, very important. Because when you squint your eyes, you're going to see the large light and dark patterns. And that's really all hair is light and dark patterns. That's why learn your dagger strokes, guys, because that's what I'm working on in the hair, is just a series of dagger strokes going back and forth. Wow, lamb is fantastic. That's my favorite. Mike S says, wish you had the energy. All I did yesterday was cut the grass. And, oh wow. Yeah, that's, cutting the grass in this summer heat is not easy. There we go. 1 second rule is going to remind me that this area right here has, smaller hairs in it, so not filling it up. Especially in the large areas, you want to use the 1 second rule. And the first pass is going to look dark, but this is very light in comparison to where we're going, you know? And don't oversaturate. So when you're putting in the dark, make sure you're not oversaturating. You can always go back and darken it. But if you oversaturate it, you can actually stain it. That's whether you're working with any kind of transparency, whether it be ink, watercolor, acrylic, it doesn't matter. A transparent will stain if it gets too wet. It will change the quality of the paper, and it will just cost you. It will cost you an aggravation down the line. And we're just going to continue shaping the light here with this mono eraser. Go back to my light mixture for the very subtle areas, such as here. So I can see that the shadow comes straight down over here. And then there's some shaping here in her mouth. Remember, if you want a very subtle, soft gradation, go about 3 or 4 inches away from the surface. Paint in 3 dimensions. Very important to paint in 3 dimensions. Now right here, I do see it's a little bit darker, and I said I was going to refrain from that. I'm going to use a soft eraser, and I'm just going to even this out right there. You see how easy we can just even that out. And like I said, we're not worried about likeness. That's going to happen. But it won't happen if we're not paying attention to the large shapes. Same thing here. It's a little bit darker, so I'm just going to even things out just a little tad. Even though things are going to get even darker, I could even things out here. And we want to let the painting evolve, right? You know, and I really think that, you know, since, you know, painting for many years, and then getting to a certain level, I have a long way to go. We all do. And but I really am realizing that I have to let the painting happen more so than making the painting happen. Do you guys feel that? That if you let the painting happen, it's much better than just trying to force the issue all the time? Now, what I'm going to do is we'll look on this side here. I'm going to bring down this dark. Oh, you got to get the medium mixture. I'm going to work on this side of the hair. Remember, many passes is what you need to do. 1 second rule is going to keep us from doing our own thing when we should pay attention to what's happening. Everything's going to darken up. Now the question is, what kind of contrast am I going to have between her hair here and her shoulder? And that's something that I'm going to decide as I go. I think I like the fact of the shoulder underneath her and her chest going back into space. So I'm going to make probably a hard edge here. About 3.5 inches from the surface here. Am I out? Yep, I'm out. So as you can see, you know, during this stage at hour number 3 and 4, no, this is hour number 5 and 6. Nope, 3 and 4, because is this part 2? I believe this is part 2. So this is hours 3 and 4. We're still doing a lot of large areas, so we go through a lot of ink. But look how quick we can refill. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And we'll bring Amy back over here. And, oh, Andrew says, definitely, Tim, every painting he starts, he convinces himself it's horrible and won't be able to finish it. Yeah, and that's true. We have to not listen to that when that happens, right, Andrew? It's not easy because, we want it to look like we want it to look like at every stage, and we have to be patient, right, Andrew? And my guest says he did play with his new Frankenstein airbrush and the ink the other day and got fine lines down to. That's fantastic. Wow, that's great. Glad to hear it. And the glycerin, great idea. Yeah, anything, just like watercolor, anything you can do to make the flow better is important. I worked in watercolor for quite a while, and it if you work in watercolor, will always understand airbrush more because a lot of airbrush behaves whether you're working in acrylic or inks. Watercolor acts very similar to it. And Wendy says she makes a million mistakes and there's no way of starting over. Well, no, you do really well, Wendy. You don't make a million mistakes. When I come in with the dark mixture, I'm going to make that very, very dark. About 4.5 inches from the surface. But this part is, very dark. When we darken the hair, it's going to come out lighter. So everything is still in your mid-tone gray area. We haven't gone to, we're pretty much in like between 7 and 4 in our value ranges. And down the line, we're going to get to our, 3, 2, 1 and values and close to black. So we have to be patient and know that things are going to pop when they do, And Andrew says, such a strange feeling, but just to have to force myself to carry on and not panic. Yes, because it's the process, right, that we have to adhere to, not our emotions when it comes to painting. I think it's important to have emotional aspects to painting, but that happens in the inspiration. That happens in the planning of the painting. That's where the emotion comes in. Not the act of painting. The act of painting is very analytical, I feel. Very unfeeling act. Who is it? Mark Rothko said that painting is an unfeeling act. And I think it is in a sense, especially when we bring those paintings out into the world, for the world to do what they want with them, tear them apart, talk about their merits. Once they're out there, they're out there. So let's continue working on Amy here. And I'm going to actually work on her eye a little bit more. So you see when we blow this up, you can see the intricacies. And then I'm taking my reference side by side and going the exact same size. That's called the sight see method when you're painting something the same exact size that you see it. And here you'll see those micro little spidering effect, but you don't see it with the naked eye. But I am going to get my glasses on for this. It is pretty dark here. And also the white of the eyes gets pretty dark. Again, I'm in the medium mixture now because I'm making in hours number 3 and 4. So that's going to happen. Don't stay in that one area too long. You don't want to get spidering. You see I'm doing pretty good with not getting spidering. So, you know, here you have the dark of the crease here, and then it gets lighter. So all I'm going to do is increase my distance. I'm not going to get involved in the skin texture. I'm going to let the values and the edges later down the line create that skin texture. Remember, this is a small painting, right? This is not a large painting. So I'm not going to go in and, you know, get every little texture. I'll let the eye take care of that. And then you see we can really pay attention to the direction of the eyelashes there. Now, remember, like when you're painting an eyelash, that when you continue but you cut off the air, and that's how you get that really soft edge. And right here, you can get this nice dark edge here. Now it's even going to be dark when we come in with the dark mixture, you know. Don't stay in the same area. You're going to get dark, but you'll get there when you get there. Increase my distance to get a little bit of light right next to it. Let's go back, let's go to our light mixture, and we'll do the little dark areas around the iris. Remember, we can do this with the medium mixture, but the best is the light mixture. So, and then I'm going to go back to the medium mixture. So you see how important it is to have the 2 airbrush method. You need to be fluid, you know, with your values, so you could, you know, go from one to the other, not wait until you have to refill it with one airbrush. So that's going to help you. Lighten that up, setting up for the color when we come in. It's a little bit darker. Going to go back to the light mixture. A little bit darker right here. Oh, cool. So we are in the second hour already, which is great. I think we're doing a good job, all of us. So guys, we hit 3,000 subscribers since last week. And thank you guys for your support over the years and giving me encouragement to keep going. I really, really appreciate that. A whole lot. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Thanks, Wendy, and I appreciate you guys are the ones who kept me going, so I definitely appreciate yous. So now we're just going to work on, you know, the way that the upper eye sort of turns into space in that three-dimensional space to give volume, that our eye is just not sitting there. So this indentation here goes out pretty far. There we go. And then, you know, it sort of fades into the light here. And voila, we have the makings of the eye. And then when we zoom out, we're going to see that it's working out, and that's what we want. We want it to work out, and now I'm with my light mixture. I'm going to definitely tone down the white of that eye, big time. See that? Makes it more in line with everything else. So right here, it's a little bit darker in the white of the eye, and that's it, you know. And my guest says he's been watching Ryan Townsend's videos, and he uses a tablet to zoom in and details for his artwork. That's cool. That's cool, but it's not as good as this setup, I'll tell you that much. He could zoom in on his see, the thing is, Ryan Townsend could zoom in on his reference, but he can't zoom in on his artwork. So I think, and that's good question. So Mike brings up the thing that looking at digital is better than looking at the photo, and I think that's half right. I think if you have the on digital, you can basically, you know, zoom in and zoom out, and that's a good thing. But you also need the photograph, because then you're working from two-dimensional to 2 dimensions. So your acuity is much better on the whole working from the photograph. I think with details, it's much better to work with, let's say, an iPad or on your computer. But if you're going to get the whole, this paper is the best by far. A good printout is going to make you work better. So it's half right. But working, I find, and I've been doing this for a very long time, working just from a photograph or a printout is good, not as good as working with you know, both the photograph and working digitally, or for digital image. It's very important to do both. And I'm just speaking from experience. If you do both, you have that added thing of working from 2 dimensions to 2 dimensions. It's much easier to see. And I love the way that, you know, when we start to really shape the light, then that's when Amy starts to come, when your model starts to reveal the character of that person. But really in the early going, in hours 3 and 4, you're not going to see it. But I would say hours 8, 9, 10, 11, that's when things really pop out. Exactly, you need both of them, you know. So the printer is important, and also the iPad. But you know what? I even like the computer better because you know, you have a bigger monitor and everything like that. Yeah, those guys in the West Coast, they're all pretty much doing that whole iPad thing. But I really think if you have a PC, it actually takes it to that next level. I mean, I wouldn't be working on my iPad if I had a PC. So I don't see the point if someone has a PC to take out their iPad. I mean, unless the PC is not in the studio or where they're painting. I see people working from their phone. Like, why in the world would you work from your phone if you have a printer? I mean, a PC with a large screen. I mean, if you are on location, yeah, work with the phone. Work with a 9-inch iPad, yeah, if you don't have your computer, definitely. Definitely, but you know, you definitely need both. You can't do just one, and so that's always important. Always important to have every tool, the best tool, at your disposal. And you see now I'm erasing and I'm shaping that light, and I'm feeling pretty good that we're getting where we want to be. So right here we have the light coming down from her cheekbone here. Now these large structural shapes here is what's going to really come together. So you see, like when we get to the point where we have enough of tonal value, then we can go ahead and start shaping the light a little bit more. Because in reality, we're painting light. Wow, how cool. Huge mermaid. I gotta do a huge mermaid. Maybe not. No mermaids for me. Remember, I come from a New York art school background. We don't paint mermaids. Hey Brad, how's it going? How are you, my friend? Good to see ya. See how just as we start shaping the light, we get a better feel of her chin, better feel of a lot of the structural qualities of her, and I think that's really good, and that's what we want. I don't paint mermaids and I don't paint flaming skulls. Oh wow, that's interesting, Mike. The thing is, I have a classical background. Although I am working in airbrush now, I still was trained by classical painters. You know, very steeped in tradition. So that keeps me from doing a lot of the stuff that is quote unquote cool. With my training, we don't do cool, but that's cool. You know, I'm not against it or anything. It's just, you know, with my background and everything. Believe me, I ruffled enough feathers by doing airbrush. I don't want to ruffle anymore, you know? Flaming skull. Yeah, that's enough about Ryan Townsend. So anyway, so what else, what are you guys up to? What are your projects that you're working on, guys? Any guys, so Willie, what are you working on as far as your project? I know uh, Willie's working on a few things. And what about you, Bill? What are you working on? Anything interesting on the easel? Oh boy, okay, that's good. Anyway, so Brad just finished a picture with me. He did a portrait of his mom, and the photo was from 1944, and that came out really well. I really enjoyed it. And Bill is working on a portrait of Dennis the Menace, which is out of this world. Really fantastic. Pet portraits, that's always cool. And let's see here. And let's pull. Yeah, let's talk about Amy Lynn, huh? That's really good. So, what do you guys think of Evanescence? Are you guys big fans of her music? I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think she's amazing. Evanescence is just great. They did a video, which is of a new song. I posted on my Facebook page, and the whole project, the whole thing, was done remotely from different locations, and they played it together, but separate. It was really fantastic. Yes, Brad started the project on his own, and we brought it in together. You know, Brad is taking my mentorship program. He's just doing amazing things, just really fantastic. And so we're going to work on right here with our medium mixture. We're going to work on the hairline here and make sure we get that correct. Well, that's cool, Bill. Very cool. And make sure you don't oversaturate, okay? Can always get darker as we go. And we can always work out the hairline. We don't got to be perfect, but you don't want to bring it down too low. Remember, you can always go lower a lot easier than lifting it up. go. I'm okay with it. I'm feeling pretty good with the hairline right now. And we're going to reevaluate as we go. Always reevaluate, right? Oh, John says he's working on his again. Oh, so how you been feeling? Okay, I hope you're feeling good, John. And let's see. Andrew just finished James Cagney. Oh, right. So you're working on James. That's a great picture of James Cagney, isn't it? That was my Uncle Roland's favorite guy. And that was sort of a tribute to James Cagney and my uncle at the same time. So right here you see we have this light, but we're going to take our time because it's really not light, it's some darks going down here, but they're individual hair. Oh man, lost in the family. I'm so sorry there, John. My condolences, sir. Yeah, things like that definitely get in the way, of course. Go back to our light mixture. Just moving back and forth, you know, light mixture, medium mixture. Softening, hardening, bringing together, right? And okay, so here, so we look here, right? We have the skin, but it's much darker here. We'll come in later with these hairs. We're not going to worry about it too early, but we're going to squint our eyes and we're going to look at the value and ask ourselves, you know, where is this value elsewhere in the portrait? So we could say probably right about here, and then we can go ahead and match those values. So you're not just throwing boards, you know, darts at a board, but you're really evaluating, and you're being much more careful during this process of hours 3 and 4. John says the picture he's working on was sent to him by the person that passed, so now he needs to finish it and get it back. Wow, that's great. And Andrew said he used a different picture but stuck to my process. That's great. Turned out well for someone like him. No, you have a lot of talent, Andrew. Don't say that, my friend. And it was brought up with James Cagney. Oh, you were brought up with James Cagney movies, and your mom loved them. Yeah. You know, my uncle liked the part where, I forget what movie, he put the woman was getting him angry, and they were at breakfast, and he put the grapefruit right in her face. He loved that one. I don't know why, but it was funny. He was a very gentle guy, so but he loved that one scene. So light mixture, right? Yes, light mixture. This value here, matching this value there. I'm about 4 inches away from the surface. See that? Just getting things in line. Same thing here. So okay, we're working on this arm, right? And so we want to ask ourselves, what value is the arm as it turns, right? You have the darkest darts and the turn here. But you don't just, like I said, you don't want to draw a dart at the board. You want to really know what you're doing. Evaluate. So I'm going to evaluate and say, okay, we have this really dark, it's almost black here. We'll get to that. And then it turns, right? And the value that it turns is lighter than this here. So let's go ahead and figure out where. So maybe like the same value over here. So that's how we actually get the value or relative value as we work, you know? And things are going to darken up as we come in with the dark mixture. Main thing is to have a good time, enjoy yourself, you know. Of course, you have commissions. You got to do what you have to do to make a living at this. But even so, you know, if you're making a living on painting, I think that's amazing. And that's something to be very thankful for. And just enjoy it. Enjoy the process that you can make a living at what you do. And to turn out, I'm just going to darken this strap here of her blouse, I believe. Is it her blouse? I'm not sure. Yes. I go back to the medium mixture. And Mike says, have I ever tried to do a real old image from another old artist? I'd say like the Mona Lisa. Yes, and that's a very important part of my training in art school was to copy the work of the great masters and see what they do. You know, I've done portraits by Rembrandt. I've done portraits by Johannes Vermeer, Ingres. I've done several by Ingres. It's just, that's where you really learn, you know, when you copy those great paintings. And you don't have to go to a museum. The reproductions are so good that, but yeah, that's where you, when you really copy them, that's when you really see the mode of working. And it's great when you understand art history, you can see who is really influencing other artists in art history. So that's the cool aspect of it. So yes, definitely we definitely have to be aware of the great masters and also how they work, because no one's teaching those methods now. And that's how we're going to learn them, by copying them. I still do reproductions of my favorite painters, definitely. I've done an airbrush painting of Johannes Vermeer's Girl with a Pearl Earring, and that was something. That was really just a great education. Painting sold for $500, by the way, before it left the easel. So, you know, you can sell them too. They're an easy sell. Another old artist, you're being dated, my friend. I am dating myself, that's for sure. But yes, the old masters, you know, that's my true mentor. And Mike S says, didn't mind make you weird out being able to get brush strokes in your image version? Oh, I'm not. Oh, Brad. Okay. Let's save our table when we can. You bring that dark down. Increase our distance to smooth out. Gradations happen a lot easier when you're further away. It's lighter, but much smoother. Bring that down a little bit. Don't worry about pencil lines. No need to erase them, because you just have to, your training wheels, they'll go away as you are painting and getting things darker. You guys are hilarious. So wow, we're at 11 o'clock already? That's pretty good. So this is going pretty well, I think, so far. We're starting to get some leeway as far as the hair. And let's see. Let's take our eraser and let's just start erasing some of the light with our least aggressive eraser and then go from there. But you see how nicely the inks erase here. Especially when you get darker, it seems like the inks erase even more. So we're just lightening up. We're going to come back in with the dark, use some Blackbeard wheat. We are still in the very early going, guys. Just getting our tonal structure. And then when we come in with the dark mixture, darken things up, everything's going to lighten up and come more into line. So it's like chess, you know, you have to set up your pieces. You set up the light mixture, and you set up the dark mixture. Set up the light mixture, you set up the medium mixture. And you set it up for the dark mixture, which the end sets up for the highlights with the white pastel. And the very beginning, of course, we set up with the white mixture, which is Drew Blair's illustration white with the 4012 reducer 1:1, and very lightly add that on. I have a student in the UK right now in my workshop program, and we're painting a giraffe, and for the first time he was using the illustration white. It came out really well. Like sculpture, you know, you're setting it up where it comes a little bit forward. That's what you want to do. You want to bring her a little bit forward from the background and the rest of the paper. It just gives a nice light base to work on, and then you could, you know, bring it together. White pastel is really going to pop things out. I'm going to come in with my medium mixture and just cover up this pupil a little bit more. So we have our light mixture, and let's darken up this lip here. We can come back in with the red, and I'm just going to hit that value right now. Remember, value is more important than color. That is a very important rule. Value is more important than color. You can always fix color. But if value's wrong, it's like putting a dress on a swine. You can't. So the value has to be on point. go ahead. I'm a little overzealous here with this eyelash here. Eyebrow, I should say. And you'll know when you go overzealous, you know. You get a little crazy with something, and then you just have to fix it. Let me see if I could fix the parallax here. We got a little bit of a parallax going on here. There we go. See, it's not quite level. Let's see if I can fix this a little bit. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Now if I tighten it, I don't want to lose it, my spot, but we'll see. Anyway, that looks better. Okay, so back to our media mixture. Let's continue darkening the hair on this side. We have some darkening to do. So when we come back, we're definitely going to put that green in her eyes there. And then when we come in with the dark mixture. Now before we go, we might come in with the dark mixture. That's not beyond our realm of possibilities. But I might be best to wait till next. We'll see. Andrew says, just think, Tim, when you're an old master in a couple of 100 years, people will be able to watch you at work in these videos. Imagine being able to do that with Rembrandt and Vermeer. So true, right? I mean, that's the sad part. What they did is pretty much lost. But what we do these days, they're going to be able to see that later, which is really fantastic. For the later generations, for this generation, they get a education that was far better than mine, and mine was an education that was a full scholarship, and it was very expensive. But today, you can get even a better education for next to nothing. Even if someone takes my workshops, they're getting years of instruction in a matter of a month. It took me a year to get when I was going to the National Academy School of Fine Arts, the Art Students League in New York, the High School of Art and Design, Long Island University to study art history. It was, you had to go and get it, you know, the information. But today that's not the case. But it's true, you know, with video and everything, that people 100 years from now will be able to go to a time machine and find out how to work in Airbrush and pastel, and, you know, it's just so great. The fact that, you know, when the video cameras went from the studio to everyone's home, that's when things really got good. When the $30,000 video cameras are not that much better than the $200 video camera. And I love that. You know, anything to take it away from the jerks with the suits, right? That's the main thing. Because the jerks with the suits, you know, they can't be trusted with things such as what people need. They'll monetize it to the point where they'll put in their favorites as far as not as uh, the most the most talented people, the best teachers. Nope, they'll put in their favorites, the family members. But now the door is open, there's no gatekeeper, and some poor guy like me could make a video, could make poor guy like me with no connections can make his own inks, you know? Poor guy like me is not, connected to Coast Airbrush and out in the West Coast and hanging out with the right people. I could have a really very good live stream. I'm not attached to Airbrush Action Magazine, but I could have a live stream. I could do a video. I could make. So now the gatekeepers are no longer there. So that's the great thing is when the video cameras, right? These little things right here cost $50. I can go ahead or anyone, Mike could make a show, Wendy, Andrew, you could make your own live stream. And you don't got to worry about, oh, I got to go on a job interview and I got to make some jerk in a suit happy or got to know the right people. No, this is the best part. This is a great time to be alive. As an artist, as a student, it's the best time. A cake show, definitely. That is so true. And that's exactly what I mean. You can do it about, Brad thinks I'm rich. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. And I think, we all could make our mark. We don't got to worry about, some executive and making them happy, right? We don't have to make them happy. Actually, we can piss them off if we want. So that's the great thing I feel about now. And you know what? You can make a live stream if you're not attached to Iwata, right? You can still make a live stream. You can still have a following. And if you don't want to work in Createx Paints, you can still have a following. So anything you do could be, you could share it with the world, and you don't have to get approval right now. How to bake cakes to mechanics to art to all uploaded. Yeah, that's so true, and I think that's great. And so many people are encouraged. And I think that's what's really great about what's going on today is that you can encourage people. And not everyone's going to be encouraged with who gets the break to have an art show or something like that. They're not going to reach everyone. But if you create a live stream or a video or do videos, you're going to reach someone who only you could reach. And I think that's really exciting. I'm going to work on this triangle here. Make sure this triangle is correct. Everything looks light in the hair, but we haven't come in with the dark mixture, and it's really going to pull it out, Okay, so now I'm looking at this, and we're going to look at her nose. Now I'm going to ask myself, okay, I'm actually pretty close, but I think it comes in a little bit here. So I'm going to, it straightens out a little bit more towards the bottom here. So I'm just going to encroach that a little bit. There we go. Just a little bit. So Mike says that he wonders if you could be hypnotized to do art or other things better than they actually could before. Interesting. I don't know. It could, but I think the best way uh, you know, is to just study. And so I was thinking today, I don't know any of you. Now, Mike, not Mike, Bill Snagan. If you're still here, Bill, you're a Met fan as I am, and we know about Dave Kingman. So if you're still here, Bill, let me know. I know it's late by you. Andrew says jerks in suits is a great way to put it. He saw a documentary about Drew Struzan, who is basically retiring from the movie poster art industry because of such people. And that's true. I love Stru's work. The Back to the Future poster he did. Hey, Bill, remember Dave Kingman? How many times he struck out? And I know you went to Shea, because I went to Shea. I was, in the 80s, And Dave King was a baseball player in the 70s and 80s. He would strike out like maybe sometimes 3 out of 4 times in the game. But the thing is, when he would hit a home run, it would be the most amazing home run you ever seen. I have never seen a prettier home run than by Dave Kingman. Dave Kingman had this loop in his swing. And when he would hit a home run, not only would he hit it far, but it would be higher than anything you ever seen. Now, if you witnessed one of his home runs, you knew that the second he hit it, it was a home run, but how long it took to fall to the ground was just a thing of beauty. Why am I saying that? Reason why I'm saying that is because the more you paint, just the more pictures you do, just like him, the more at-bats, the prettier home runs he'll hit. So remember, you're going to strike out. There's going to be some paintings that are going to be so-so. But you need those paintings, you need the so-so paintings statistically to get to the home runs. So that's basically my analogy. So we got the light mixture in here, and let's see where we are ignoring a little bit, any areas we're ignoring. So just keep making them. Keep making art. Keep studying. So you remember his home runs there, Bill? Does anyone out there remember Dave Kingman's home runs? I don't think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but I've never seen a more beautiful home run in my life. And he was this really tall, skinny guy. And he was like this real quiet guy too. Someone hitting home runs like that, you'd think he would be more boisterous, but he was super quiet. Oh no, okay. Yeah. What people could do is just go ahead and in Google, not in Google, but even in YouTube, just type in Dave Kingman home run, just see some of them. It's like unbelievable. I have not been to Citi Field yet, not at all. I want to, but I just haven't. I used to go to Shea during when I was a teenager. There was this thing called the Mets MVP fan club. I lived in Astoria, Queens, in New York City. And they would send you free tickets. Granted, they were in the green or the red section, but as a kid, you would get something like 20 tickets during the season, and it would be free. Now the Mets were bad back then, and that was great. So I would go with my friends. We'd take the subway as kids, and we'd go watch the Mets. Just really fantastic. Yeah, I hear Citi Field is nice, but I do miss Shea, right, where we've seen the '86 Mets. I miss my Shea Stadium, and we used to see the Jets at Shea. Remember? That I'm really dating myself. The Jets at Shea Stadium. Holy cow! Tim, you're old. So when we come back, we're definitely going to hit up that light mixture. We got to calm this down here. She looks very angry. And let's just soften that up with the light mixture. But using the 1 second rule when we soften up. So stay tuned for my opaques, right? India ink, opaque India inks. And that we're going to actually do on board. So that's going to be exciting. Very exciting stuff. Yes, the Yankees played at Shea for a while, definitely. I think it was when they were doing construction on the new Yankee Stadium for a while. But that was before my time, though. Not the Yankee Stadium we have now, but I think there was some renovations being done at one time. I think that was during the 70s or something. I may be wrong. I've been known to be wrong, my friend. Let's make sure. So this is something you always want to make sure, guys, when you're painting. Make sure that when you hold down the trigger, paint's not coming out. That does happen. 76. Yeah, I wasn't a sports fan back then. Though I did like the Dallas Cowboys. Wendy, you are young. And I'm sticking to that story. Okay. Yes, so we're over here. Okay, so as we are working, more pieces of the puzzle start to fit. 1 second rule is going to help us. Definitely want to come back in with the Blackbeard wheat pretty soon. Start getting some of those textures. And it's going to be fun coming in with that green there. And then once we come in with the dark mixture and then the lights, I would say we are probably about 3. So there's probably going to be a part 5 with this one, you know. Oh, you're welcome, Wendy. It's your heart that's young. That's the most important thing, and you are a young soul. And you look young, so that's all great stuff. So as you see, we can definitely start to piece things together as we start to work. This chin starting going up a little bit. Those are things that are helping us to get the essence of Amy. That could be like a book, The Essence of Amy. So how the opaques are going to differ is that we can do a lot of, you know, going over it, going over the darks with the light using, like a raw sienna to avoid blue shift. And I want to do a system like that. And also, how you can start out with the transparents and then go over it with the opaques. And then at the end, go over it with transparents again. But, it's really going to have a different look and, bring up some different techniques that people are used to working with acrylics. So it's interesting, and it's out of a need, It's not like just me arbitrarily coming up with a new idea. This is something that I, wanted to see, and I think would, make for very interesting work. Todd says, looking good, Tim. Just got back 10 minutes ago. Oh, man, have a great night, my friend. So I'm going to dust over everything here just to darken it up, and then I can pull back again. Same thing here. Just going to dust over the whole hair. And then I can come back in and darken again, lighten, darken. So hair is something you have to stick with. And we're still working on those lips as far as the values. Even though we put color in, we can always put color in again, but we want to make sure we hit those values. And so I want to make sure I have the light mixture in, and I do. And we can darken our Cupid's bow. So cute. I love that word. Okay, so I'm out of light mixture. Oh, look at that. We're at 11:28, which is pretty good. So I think we got pretty far. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate that. Have a great night, my friend. Always a pleasure. Thanks, Wendy. Have a great night. So good to see you. And yeah, so I think we're doing very well. We're making some nice progress. Remember, this is only number 2, so we're not looking to get to a point too soon. Andrew, thank you so much, my friend, and I really appreciate you hanging out with me all the way from the UK. What an honor. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. And so check out Bill and Steve's live streams. Bill does a live stream, I believe, on... Well, Bill does live streams at different times, so always stay tuned to that. Thank you so much, Bill. He's doing Dennis the Menace now. Mondays at 6. Stay tuned for Steve Leahy. And I'm not sure Bill Kennedy's schedule, but definitely look at those guys. They're doing some great live streams as well. Thanks, Mike S. It's always good to see you. I appreciate that so much. I just put some light mixture back in. And let's see, we're 11:29, so we're close. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys, on this Wednesday night. I always look forward to seeing you, and I mean that. And thank you for 3,000 subscribers. And, you guys are just amazing. I can't do it without you, without your encouragement and all that. So, still 11:29. So Willie, thank you so much, and Bill and Gloria, Andrew and Somerset, and everybody. Tone, thank you so much. Always fantastic to see you. John D. Anyone I missed, thank you for hanging out, and everyone is as important. Bill says he's changing things up. He has to work larger because of your eyesight. Okay, great. Keep us posted on that, Bill. I love your work, and I'm praying that your eyes make a full recovery. That's what I'm Really praying. Raul, have a good night, my friend. Always a pleasure. And thanks, guys, for hanging out with me. It's 11:30. I gave you the full 2 hours, as I always try to do, because you guys are important. Stay safe, and God bless everybody.